2024, we gamers can expect a flood of incredible releases in Unreal Engine 5 and Unity. These two powerful engines promise to bring completely new and immersive gaming experiences to players worldwide. In today's video, I bring 10 new PC games in Unreal Engine 5 and Unity that will surprise in 2024. I'm Iolia, and the video is about to start. Decadent will be an exploration-focused FPS centered on the story and promises to blend realistic moments with fiction in a very interesting way. In the game, the player takes on the role of John Lorne, a real explorer and veteran of World War I, transformed into a decadent occultist. As a result of a traumatic experience in one of his occult researches, Lorne becomes the host of a strange parasite. Traveling to the Arctic for the last time, he follows the footsteps of the lost expedition from Miskatonic University. As his courage and sanity are pushed to the limit, John must learn to balance between good and evil and discover how much weight he is willing to cause to save a loved one. You can venture into lightless forests, frozen tundras, hostile cliffs, and more, while unlocking new equipment, such as 1920s firearms to alien bioweapons. Delta Force: Hawk Ops will be a free multiplayer FPS. The game stands out for both its gameplay and the campaign based on the movie Black Hawk Down and the return of the classic Delta Force series. The game's multiplayer, with up to 32 players, is set in the year 2035 and features various advanced and futuristic technologies, such as the use of exoskeletons and arrows that emit sonar signals, for example. Its gameplay is quite similar to Battlefield 2042, with the presence of vehicles like jets, boats, tanks, and helicopters. Other novelties include drones that deploy smoke screens on the battlefields and temporary player HP enhancements.
Get down! Get down! We need tank! Tank fight! Enemy vehicles coming! Vehicle under attack!
Deep Silver has announced that they are developing Kingdom Come: Deliverance II, a sequel to the popular game that brings the experience of living in the midst of the Middle Ages. Created again by Warhorse Studios, the new game will lead players to participate in a civil war in the midst of 15th century Bohemia. Kingdom Come: Deliverance II will have a map twice the size of its predecessor. With some freedom, the protagonist can visit locations from the known place called Bohemian Paradise, which really exists in the Czech Republic, to the majestic and imposing Trotsky Castle, among other locations. Despite maintaining many elements that made the first game successful, Warhorse Studios promises various enhancements in critical areas. The studio states that they have revamped the combat system of the series, ensuring that it is both faithful to medieval martial arts and fun to use.
Come on!
Developed by Tiny Build, known for Pathologic 2 and Punch Club, Kingmakers features a soldier who travels back to medieval England in the hope of changing the course of a bloody war to prevent the apocalypse. According to the official release, it will be a fully real-time simulation with thousands of soldiers fighting simultaneously using cutting-edge multi-threaded AI. Kingmaker's weapons will include assault rifles, shotguns, grenade launchers, armored SUVs, bicycles, war helicopters, airstrikes, and you can also command medieval soldiers. Kingmakers will feature solo and cooperative gameplay. We do not have a release date for Kingmakers yet, but it will be available in early access in 2024. Developed in Unreal Engine 5 by the Ukrainian studio Dog Howl Games, Level 0, Extraction offers an original approach to the multiplayer survival horror genre. Players will take part in dangerous expeditions where teams of mercenaries compete for valuable loot. Simultaneously, two other players take on the roles of deadly alien monsters that can only be eliminated with light, hunting humans in the shadows. Following a successful closed beta earlier this year, the new open beta of Level 0 Extraction introduces a range of new features and updates based on player feedback. Participants will be able to explore new locations, use realistic military standard weapons, and face AI-controlled enemies in PvE mode, as well as game quality of life improvements such as balancing, combat mechanics, progression, server stability, and more. Publisher TinyBuild and independent developers Hologryph and Tower House today released the first gameplay trailer of their newest project titled Sand, an open-world PvPvE extraction shooter. In Sand, players use gigantic diesel punk mechanisms to combat and loot other players in a vast desert. The title is almost a post-apocalyptic Sea of Thieves. Sand is set in an alternate history universe, where the Austro-Hungarian Empire leads space colonization in the 19th century, humanity travels through the stars, and the fallen planet of Sophie lies in ruins after an ecological disaster evaporated the world's oceans. Now only the bravest and most reckless treasure hunters, working alone or in teams, scour and fight in Sophie's deadly deserts. We recently had the announcement of a new title that caught the player's attention for its interesting premise. Entitled Second Loop, the game is a single-player action FPS with a focus on physics-based puzzles. Set in a dystopian future, players will take on the role of a combat robot, which will need to engage in intense shootouts and use the ability to manipulate gravity to solve puzzles. Created with Unreal Engine 5, the creators promise to bring cutting-edge visuals to the game, creating a post-apocalyptic urban landscape with a terrifying beauty, where the remnants of a metropolis blend technology and nature. The combat also promises to be intense, with enemy AI adapting to your playstyle, increasingly using different and intelligent strategies to take you down.
This tribunal shall not flinch from crushing any insurgency or uprising with the inexorable...
It's a stark admonition to all who would presume...
Serial Hunter is an action-adventure game that immerses players in the role of John Doe, a self-proclaimed avenger seeking to rid the world of crime and injustice. Players take on the identity of an investigative journalist, John Doe, who uses information gathered at work to combat criminal elements. The game offers a unique perspective, where players can become a celebrated hero by making balanced decisions or a feared villain by unleashing their fury. The game features a narrative where players must observe and learn the life patterns of criminals, prepare strategic plans, and decide on the appropriate punishment for each crime. Serial Hunter offers a dark and brutal scenario, emphasizing the vigilante aspect of the character John Doe, who becomes judge, jury, and executioner for those who have escaped justice. The Forever Winter is a new cooperative shooting game on Steam. Fundog Studios has not yet provided an exact release date, but the game can already be wishlisted on the Valve platform. The shooter attracts with an interesting concept that puts the player, regardless of the party, in an endless mechanical war. What is particularly interesting here is that a PvEV conflict occurs in the Forever Winter. In this, enemy factions will constantly fight each other, including giant robots. Your goal in this conflict will be to loot and, above all, survive. The trailer already shows a bit of the gameplay and game material.
Note of their weaknesses and plan your strategy to take them down. Even fully geared, it will require coordination, teamwork, and a bit of luck. There are only 3 types of scavs: the fast, the smart, and the dead. So don't be ashamed to retreat if the fighting gets too hot. Remember, there are no heroes here. Just a few men and women running around in the dark with half-empty magazines.
Last Sentinel will be an open-world science fiction game. The project is from Steve Martin, former studio director at Rockstar. In the trailer, we can see soldiers attacking a building where children were being protected by androids. In the end, the person referred to as the Demon appears, protecting the children from the attackers. Named Hiromi Shota, she is expected to be the game's protagonist. Unfortunately, we do not have more information about the game. We will have to wait for news about this debut game from Lightspeed LA.
Follow me.
As a bonus, I bring The Precinct, a game that recently caught attention for being similar to GTA, but with the twist of putting the player in the role of a police officer. The proposal may not be new, but it deviates from what is seen in other games. The title puts players in the shoes of a newly graduated police officer tasked with patrolling the streets of Averno City, a fictional city overrun by crime. Initially, players will perform basic tasks like issuing parking fines and arresting low-level criminals. However, the complexity of missions quickly increases, leading the officer to face gang shootouts and bank robberies. The game offers the possibility of high-speed pursuits, destroying environments, and calling for reinforcements to apprehend suspects. Additionally, players will be able to pilot helicopters to monitor the city from above, guiding their colleagues in operations to capture criminals. So that's it, folks. I hope you enjoyed the video, and until next time.
Averno's citizens will sleep a little safer for your efforts until tomorrow.